Hi there, thank you for joining me for another episode of Total Ramblings. This is just going to be a life update, so if you're just here for drone flights or Lego reviews or unboxing or other sci-fi stuff, I honestly don't mind if you want to skip this one. You know, it's just me going on about what's happening. I am yet again in dispute with my insurance company. They made me a cash offer to resolve the reinstatement works to my shower. So for those who aren't familiar, my wife's been in hospital for 18 months. She has an incurable genetic disease. So does our son. He also has the same incurable genetic disease. And when my wife was in hospital last year, I spent about £40,000. Number one, giving a makeover to my upstairs bathroom, completely new bathroom, new floor, new ceiling, new walls, new everything. And at the same time, I extended my downstairs toilet to include a downstairs shower room because my wife can't use the stairs, or she certainly can't be going up and down all day. So I had a brand new shower installed. I had the whole room reorganized, and basically it had a seat and grab handles and everything. Now, as a matter of pure coincidence, in February this year, I had a leak in my underground pipework. Nothing to do with the shower installation, but the leak was underneath the shower, as luck would have it, because that's the way my luck goes. All right, so basically, turns out when I had my extension built 20 years ago, the builders failed to lag my water pipes properly. They were just wrapped in like black plastic, not in sort of hemp material or anything like that. And over 20 years, the concrete has eaten through the plastic and pinholes were starting to appear in the pipes. So I made a claim for the insurance company, and unfortunately the brand new shower had to be ripped out to repair the leak and also for drying works to take place, and all that's been done. The insurers insisted that I needed to have my underground pipes replaced, which I have had done. Unfortunately, and every single problem leads to a new problem, right? Unfortunately, during the course of taking out the old pipes and replacing them with massively insulated new pipes, the central heating pipes, which were also installed in the extension, they were literally shattering. And basically, I could have had this problem again with the central heating pipes. So the central heating pipes were shattering, and I told the guys to isolate those pipes. And I now currently have 4 radiators in the house that don't work because they are isolated. But it means that this leaking problem can never happen again. The cold water pipes are brand new, the central heating pipes are not being used, and now I have to spend more money to get the central heating reinstated, with the 4 radiators added back into the system, this time with pipes above ground. My insurance company have made me a cash offer to reinstate the downstairs shower, but they are refusing to accept an area of staining in my kitchen. Basically, what's happened is the water has tracked under the lino, and apparently I have a very slight decline in my floor, and the water has tracked under the lino, has pooled under a particular section of lino, reacted with the glue, and has caused staining. Now, this was confirmed to me by a company called Revival, who came out appointed by the insurance company to inspect, and they said yes, that this is basically a cause of the leak, and the water has trapped under the lino, it's pooled in this slight decline in the floor, and it's reacted with the glue. It's the same claim. I went back to A1 Bathrooms and got a quote myself for reinstating the shower because they installed it in the first place. And they initially came back, and including the lino floor in the kitchen, which I assumed was being covered as part of the claim because Revival told me it was the same claim. They came back with a quote for £8,500. And the insurance company had offered me £3,500, £500 of which I have to pay as an excess. So I would have got £3,000. So we were well apart on the numbers. A1 rejigged their quote and got down to £7,000, and the insurance company have gone up a little bit, but they will not meet me at the point that I want them to meet me. And it turns out I know why, because they're not factoring in the kitchen element. And when I specifically asked them about that, they said, no, you're going to need to make a separate claim. And that's a second excess of £500. Now, bearing in mind there's been some prior miscommunication and they were previously trying to get me to pay 4 excesses of £500, and I have no idea where that's come from. We're now back to the situation where they want to charge me 2 excesses of £500. And this is not fair because the proximate cause of the staining in the kitchen is the same claim that they have already agreed to reinstate. So only 1 excess should apply. And their cost should be factoring in the repair to the kitchen lino as well as the rest of the lino. So it's no wonder we're so far apart on the numbers. This morning I've sent an email to Revival, the drying company, who were appointed by the insurers, don't forget. And I've basically said that I am going to require them to give me statements under oath, if in court if necessary, to confirm what they told me here, that, you know, this damage is all part of the same claim. I am not tolerating anymore people constantly putting their hands in my wallet. My wife can't work anymore. I am the only person working. I am trying to hold down my job while desperately in a situation where my wife has died twice since December 2023, and she is in hospital, and I don't know when she's going to be able to come home, but she certainly can't come home whilst I've got a dysfunctional downstairs shower and I've got trenches in my floor. It's not safe for her, and it's not practical for her to come home. I also now need to find more money to build a stair lift, to install a stair lift so she can get up and down the stairs, because she literally can't do it anymore. So I'm fighting a number of battles, not least of which is trying to keep my wife alive so that she can come home to a house, a functional house. And I've got insurance companies fucking around, basically desperately trying to charge me as many insurance excesses as possible when it's all the same claim. I made a complaint some time ago and I've been dithering about whether to pursue it. But when I got this letter back, this email yesterday saying, no, you need to pay a second excess, I'm like, well, here we go again. This is ridiculous. So I am pursuing the complaint. I will be making a complaint to the Financial Conduct Authority. And if necessary, I will be taking this to court. And I will be seeking written witness statements from the guys at Revival. And I will be expecting them to give evidence under oath that this is all part of the same claim. And it's no wonder that the insurers and I are so far adrift on the costs when they've not factored in a large element of the claim. Now, some people might say this is my just desserts, right? Because I have been in insurance claims for 35 years. I have dealt with claims for international organisations, large UK commercial organisations, and personal lines claims. And yes, that includes escape of water. So I know what I'm talking about. And if this is the way the insurers are treating somebody like me, who I think it's fair to say is an expert in insurance claims specifically, then I wonder what they're getting away with other claimants who don't know anything. I'm deliberately not naming the insurance company at the moment because that's just the way I go. But I'm quite happy to do so in the future and publicise this as much as possible if I need to. But you might say, hey, Andrew, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Yeah, OK, maybe this is my just desserts because I was a claims handler for 19 years. I've been in claims for 35 years, but for 19 of those years, I was a frontline claims handler dealing with people. But if the policy covers it, it covers it. And if the proximate cause is the same, then that's one claim, right? And it's not fair. It's not fair on me when I've got an already stressful situation And it's not fair to basically lie about what you've been told. So I'm not going to be letting this go. I will be pursuing this matter in the courts if necessary, and I will get satisfaction, and I will have the claim resolved in my favour. I offered to meet the insurers at a point where I would have to pay the excess and maybe £1,000 of my own so that I could have the works done by my preferred suppliers, but they won't meet me at that point. I'm not necessarily asking for the whole cost. I get it, right? Insurers can employ suppliers and vendors, and they have economies of scale, right? Therefore they can charge cheaper costs. They can get the works done for cheaper. I'm not in that position. A1 Bathrooms are also a prestige company, right, who probably are slightly higher rates than normal, right? My point being that, you know, I'm not necessarily expecting the insurance company to meet all of the costs. I've said if they were to offer me £6,500, knock off the £500 excess, which I have to pay, which means I get £6,000, then all I've got to do is find £1,000 for the shortfall. I've offered to reach that point, but I can't afford to do much more than that. Not when I still have another £1,500 to pay to have my radiators done. Not when I have to find the money for a stair lift, and not when every time I leave the house, I've got people dipping their hands into my wallet saying, "Oh, you've got some money. I'll take that. Thank you very much." You know, I'm trying to survive here. So that's the current situation. I just thought I'd kind of update everybody on where I was in my battle with the insurance company. As I say, I'm not naming them here at the moment, but I'm quite prepared to do so. I'm not going to let this go. And I want satisfaction. I want this to be resolved along the terms that I have proposed. And it's no wonder we can't bloody get anywhere if they're not factoring in a large element of the claim. They appear to fail to understand that water can move. Water isn't static. It doesn't stay where it is. Capillary action can cause it to track underneath a floor lining, and that's exactly what's happened. The leaks happened in one room, the water's tracked under the contiguous lining and has basically tracked, and it's found an area where the floor is slightly lower and it's pooled there, and it's caused the staining in my lino. And that's demonstrable. And that all happened at the same time that the leak was occurring. I didn't know why the staining was there originally. I actually cut a small section in the lino to lift up, and it was wet under there. It was moist. And the guys from Revival confirmed to me that this was the same claim. So, there you go. Yeah, so, in other news, what's been happening? Yesterday, I went to Horsham to meet my boss and some others for drinkies. I am becoming ever so slightly agoraphobic at the moment partly because every time I leave the house, people seem to want to dip their hands in my wallet and take money that I don't have anymore. But also just because, you know, it's driving 70 miles there for some lemonades and then 70 miles. But it was a good night. It was a good night. I do enjoy it when I'm there. It's just a case of basically getting off my arse and, you know, getting out of the house, really, which I do find to be a problem at the moment, because I'd rather just bury my head in the sand, given all the problems that we've currently got. And I don't like to talk to moan to Liz about these problems, because I'm not the one in hospital, right? She's the one in hospital. My problems compared to hers are nothing, really. They're more sort of logistical, really. But so, you know, I'm not really in a position to moan to her about how woe is me. But it does get me down. This whole thing is getting me down. But as I say, I'm not the one in hospital with an incurable disease. Anyway, it's about 11:30 on Sunday the 8th of June, and I'm going to be going off to my mother-in-law's in a couple of hours to have dinner. Then I'll be spending the afternoon with Liz. So, you know, there's that. In other news, I did a bit of a boo-boo last week. I was on the way home from Liz's, and there's a lavender farm on the drive home. And I quite often think to myself, it would be lovely to put a drone up and get some pictures of that. Now, on the lavender farm itself, they say no drones, but there's a lay-by about, I don't know, quarter of a mile up the road. So I pulled in there and I put the drone up and took some pictures from afar. My drone was up for maybe 10 minutes. What I failed to do, and this is completely my bad, because I'm not perfect, right? You know, nobody's perfect. And anyone who says they don't make a mistake is a liar. What I failed to do was check the drone assist app. And had I done that, I would have realised that there was a temporary no-fly zone, which I was on the edge of, to be fair, but I shouldn't have put the drone up. Now, there were no audible or visible planes in the air, and, you know, had there been sounds or anything, I wouldn't have put the drone up. Previously, when I've logged into DJI Fly, which is the app that's on the remote control, previously I've had warnings about no-fly zones. I had no warning this time. It didn't tell me. Now, that's not to hide behind that, because the fault is mine and I should have checked drone assist, and I failed to do so. Anyway, I got back, and as soon as I realised that I had effectively breached a no-fly zone, I reported myself to the CAA, because I like to think that I am a person of integrity. I like to think that I play by the rules. And even though nobody was in the area to see me and I hadn't caused any accidents, I still like to play by the rules. And I have reported myself to the CAA for an alleged breach of air navigation legislation. Reported myself. I said, look, it's my fault. I put a drone up in a temporary no-fly zone. Had I waited a few days, that no-fly zone would have gone. But I just didn't realise it was there. And that's my fault for not checking. Anyway, if anyone wants to pile in and have a go at me, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not a perfect person. I've got a report number for you here, ABL-39472. That's the reference. I've had an automated reply from the CAA. I'll probably get a letter. I might get a fine. Yet more people trying to put their hands in my wallet for money that I don't have, but that one's on me. So, you know, I'm not trying to say I'm perfect. I'm not trying to say that my problems are the fault of everybody else, because sometimes apparently I cause myself problems as well. And I'm just being honest. And in this vlog, you get all of it. You get the good and the bad, right? What I find about most social media is it's people saying, oh, isn't my life wonderful, and posting pictures of their fantastic lives and their gloriously toned bodies. I'm a fat bastard, right? And my life is not perfect and I make mistakes, and you get the good and the bad. This is a vlog. This is a story about my life. So you're going to get everything, whether you like it or not. And as I say, if you're just here for the sci-fi stuff or the reviews of TV series or the unboxings or the toys or anything, then that's absolutely fine. But I also use this vlog to record my life. So there you go. I'm just kind of giving you an update, really. In other news, I'm currently working for my current client is a company in Wimbledon. I go there once a week on Thursdays, but we've got Wimbledon fortnight coming up, the tennis tournament. I don't know what's going to happen during that fortnight, because I drive in because after I've gone to Wimbledon, I then drive to Hazelmere to visit my wife and then come home to Basingstoke. It's a big long loop. And that's the reason I drive in. I could take the train, but that's more of a hassle. I suspect that driving into Wimbledon during Wimbledon fortnight might not be a very good idea. I might not be able to park. I suspect the traffic will be hell. So I don't know what to do at the moment about that. But something to think about anyway. Anything else happening? Probably not. That's just a general update from me. The usual typical Sunday morning sort of rambling from Andrew. Not much else to say, really. Still a little bit in shock that we've got a new Doctor Who, apparently, or that at least we haven't got the old one. But there you go. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this episode of Total Ramblings. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, hate, unsubscribe, whatever. All right. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.